Oh, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for the Sustainable Westchester Conversations in Clean Energy. Today, we're going to be talking about Westchester Power and Community Solar, your community energy programs. And my name's Lauren Broyce. I'm an employee of Sustainable Westchester, and I'm also joined by Carmen and Claire, who will be delivering the presentation with me today. And we also have some other Sustainable Westchester staff people on the line as well. So I think we're going to move through the slides. As you are watching the presentation, feel free to chat in your questions. And then once the presentations are over, we'll stop sharing the screen and start answering all the questions. And at that point, we'll look at the questions in the chat. And if you want to have more of a conversation, feel free to unmute yourself and we can kind of take it from there. We want this to be a friendly afternoon, and although we can't be together in the same room, we want to chat on the Zoom call and catch up with you all. So we know there's a lot of questions floating out there, like what is Westchester Power and how can it help me lower my carbon footprint? What is community solar and how do I really understand my energy bill and what I'm paying for? So we're going to answer these questions today. And to kick it off, we are just going to frame this by looking at the New York State goals. So we're really lucky in New York State. We actually have the nation's most aggressive carbon reduction goals, and that is outlined in the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. You might have heard the acronym, the CLCPA. And these impressive goals are going to help us transition to a clean energy economy. So we basically have 10 years to move from our current level of 28% renewable energy to 70% renewable energy by 2030. And the programs that we're talking about today will help you directly impact New York State reaching these goals. So another piece of the goals that's important is that we want to ensure a just transition for people that are subjected to the negative impacts of environmental degradation. So as we talk about reducing energy, we're also talking about reducing pollution and the harmful effects that it has on our communities. Okay, so coming back to Northern Westchester, since most of the people on the call today are probably NYSEG customers, it's fine if you're a Con Ed customer and on the call today, you'll still be able to get a lot out of this presentation. And since it's a rather small group, we'll be able to answer questions for you if you're in Con Ed or NYSEG territory. But before we really dive into that, we have to say thank you and appreciate all the amazing work that's been done by so many committed volunteers in Westchester, specifically in Northern Westchester, over the past many years. I see people on the line that were members of NYSEG back in the day and have moved forward on their local sustainability committees and also to Sustainable Westchester. So we definitely want to do a shout out to the Somers Energy and Environment Committee, the Lewisboro Sustainability Committee, Pound Ridge Energy Action Committee, Bedford 2020, and all the local conservation boards. So we're happy that everybody works together to create a more beautiful Northern Westchester, and we're really happy that we've been able to come together to collectively purchase our energy and source clean electricity. So we'll be talking about what that means for Westchester Power later today. So Sustainable Westchester, as you're probably familiar, is a nonprofit, and we're created and overseen by our member municipalities, which we have 44 of, and Westchester County itself. And our goal is really to provide the residents with cost-effective programming and resources to support the transition to a sustainable, clean energy economy that benefits us all. Okay. And we are doing that through our different programs. Westchester Power, Community Solar, we're talking about today. We also offer a Heat Smart program for residential homes and businesses to take advantage of energy efficiency and clean heating and cooling opportunities. We have programs for helping people take advantage of going electric with their transportation. And we also offer zero waste programs. So happy to answer questions about any of those programs later in the call, but with a focus on our energy reduction ones. So we've included this card here. We sent a postcard out earlier in the summer, I think in June. And this is a reminder to say, hey, did you receive this card? And also we just wanted to show the branding and recognize, you know, there's a lot of players in this utility and clean energy market, and you're probably receiving a ton of paperwork in the mail or even email with offerings. So we really want you to know that Sustainable Westchester and Westchester Power is the trusted community energy provider. And whenever you're receiving this information, you want to look for the Westchester Power, Westchester Power, Sustainable Westchester logos, as well as your municipality seal, which is on the back side of this card, and I forgot to put in to the presentation. But always look for your municipality seal when you're getting this energy information. Like I said, there's a lot of scams out there, and we want to make sure people are getting the best programs that we have to offer. So speaking of the best programs we have to offer, Carmen is going to be talking about Westchester Power. So Carmen, take it away.
Thank you, Lauren, and thank you everyone for being here. So I would be very happy to tell you more about Westchester Power. But before I do that, I want to go into and give you a background on the electricity system. So basically, energy gets generated within a facility. It is then transmitted through long distance transmission lines and distribution lines to your home. And currently, in a lot of places, this is done, the energy is generated with fossil fuels. So our goal to have a more sustainable future is to eventually displace this with renewables, such as wind, solar, and hydropower. So right now in Westchester County, we don't have the space to set up big solar developments, and we also don't have a long transmission line that we can use to bring renewable energy directly to our homes in Westchester County from upstate, for example. But we are able to participate in this clean energy economy by buying renewable energy credits that match our local consumption. That is, for every unit of energy we use, somewhere out there, there will be a renewable energy being generated, and it will be used. So we can't just really speak with the generators to get this, get set up with these renewable energy credits. We actually have to go through an ESCO. Yes, so, and now the marketplace is saturated with ESCOs, so it's really hard to bet them. You have to figure out what is happening out there. Lauren, please, the next slide. So, and sometimes these ESCOs have predatory practices, such as introducing you at a low rate and then all of a sudden a few months later hiking up the price. So this is really where we come in as a nonprofit organization, Westchester Power. We aggregate residents. Lauren?
Oh,
sorry. So we aggregate residents and small businesses to collectively purchase electricity. So 27 municipalities in Westchester County participate in our program, and 3 of them have basic supply, which is they meet the minimum requirement for renewable energy in New York State, and 24 of them have green supply as their default energy, and that is 100% renewable energy. So our program, our collective buying, size can help us ensure that ESCOs have to meet criteria in order to supply us energy. So you might already be enrolled in Westchester Power if you're in Bedford, Lewisboro, North Salem, and Somers, or Pound Ridge, and you have direct energy in your bill as your supplier, then you are already in our program, and thank you so much for contributing to towards the clean energy future. So our biggest reason we're doing this is to have a positive impact in our environment, and program-wide, since the launch of our program, we've mitigated 660,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide, which is something like saying taking off 142,000 cars off the road for 1 year, and or saying growing 11 million tree ceilings for 10 years. And the NYSEG towns that I just mentioned have contributed to this by helping us mitigate 75,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide, which is something like saying taking off, 16,000 cars off the road in 1 year, or 1.2 million treat ceilings grown for 10 years. So Westchester Power has many benefits. We're a better community, that is a community program that is your municipality approves of it. Basically, your municipality chooses to participate in the program by signing a 1 to 2 year term contract with us in unvetted ESCO. And there are no changes on your rate. All of a sudden you have fixed rates for the life of the term of the contract, the municipality contract, that is. And eventually, we go into a new contract, but we notify you ahead of time that this is going to be happening, such as in 2021, we will be going into a new contract, so we will notify you ahead of time on that. We are available for you here 24/7. We are available by phone, by email, and we also go out and do community outreach in our different parts of our communities. And we'd be really happy to come out to one of your groups if you're interested. And again, the biggest reason we're trying to do this is to help us address climate change. So, sorry.
Next.
We have 2 supply options here, and these 2 supply options are, sorry, Lauren, would you go back 1 slide? Okay, these 2 supply options are green supply and basic supply. So green supply is 100% renewable energy, and the basic supply, again, meets the minimum requirement for New York State renewable energy. And the municipalities choose to enroll their residents and small businesses within one of these 2 supply options as a default. So Bedford, Lewisboro, Pound Ridge, and North Salem have chosen to have green supply as their default energy, and Summer has chosen to have basic supply as their default energy. However, they both of them can, all residents in these municipalities can switch from any supply option if at any point. So we also want to highlight that we have one of the lowest rates available in the market. And thank you. Basically, we looked into the New York State Power to Choose website to figure out what's out there for like a 24 period term contract with like a fixed rate and for 100% renewable energy. And we noticed that one of the lowest supply rates for summers is 1 cent higher than our supply. And the only other second option is actually 2 times our rate. So really this collective purchasing power that we have in Westchester Power has helped us secure a very economical rate for green supply. So with that, we have saved about $1.1 million in NYSEG towns that participate in Westchester Power, and that has helped us mitigate 75,000 tons of carbon dioxide. So we ask for your continued support as we enter the new 2021 contract. We will keep the same goals. We will have basic supply, we will have green supply, we will ask for fixed rates. We will set a not to exceed price for bidders that want to supply energy to us that is approved by your municipalities, and we will remain committed to having New York State renewable energy credits. We will continue to do outreach in your communities. Again, if you want us to come out to one of your community groups, please let us know. We would be very happy to do this. Then we will be sending out notification letters in early October, where you will learn about who has won the contract to supply us energy. And also you will know about the rates that are available, what is your default supply, how to opt out of the program, or how to switch from supply options. And if you choose to stay with Westchester Power, you don't have to do anything. Simply, we will be enrolling you in your first meter read date after December 1st. And we really just want to make this choice and this opportunity available and easy for you. So you really don't have to do anything at that point. But we do want to know, like what Lauren mentioned, there are a lot of players out there that may have similar names, and maybe giving you offers that are similar to this, but please look out for your municipality seal in the communication we will be sending out to you. There will always be your municipality seal on it. So with that, I want to say thank you very much for listening to us, and I want to pass this on to our colleague Claire, who will be speaking about community solar. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire, as Carmen mentioned. I'm a community solar associate with Sustainable Westchester, and it makes me very happy to see that several of you are actually already signed up for community solar. So you're already familiar, but for those of you who aren't, just give a little bit of a background. When Sustainable Westchester was beginning in their solar programs, we worked in Solarize Westchester, which specialized in offering discounted solar panel installation rates to community members. But what we found was that about 85% or more of the people that were interested in solar couldn't follow through with it because of financial barriers, because maybe their roofs were shaded, maybe they were renting an apartment rather than owned a home. A whole host of reasons barred many people from benefiting from solar energy. So 2 years ago, we established our community solar program, which allows just about anyone to sign up and benefit from solar energy. And we'll do a quick overview here. So with community solar, just about anyone can sign up. And what happens is when someone enrolls to our program, we have an offsite solar farm with many solar panels, and we provide a certain number of solar panels to each subscriber based on their monthly average energy usage. And we say, all right, for Jane, this is how much electricity she uses on average each month. We'll dedicate this portion of the solar farm to generate energy for her each month. And then each month, that energy generated will appear on her utility bill as a credit. And then she pays a discounted rate for those energy credits. So there's a guaranteed savings built into community solar. And to just talk briefly about the rest of the benefits to subscribers. As I mentioned, there's a guaranteed savings of up to 10% for all of our subscribers. The renewable energy credits that you receive on your NYSEG or Con Ed bills, there is a guaranteed savings off of 10%. So no matter who signs up, you will be saving if you join the community solar program. It's a very easy way to offset your carbon emissions and have a positive impact on the environment. As I mentioned before, not just homeowners can sign up. You can be a renter, you can be a homeowner, you can have a very shady roof. We're also working with nonprofits and houses of worship, small businesses, and we've just recently worked with the towns of Bedford and Lewisboro to enroll their certain municipal electric accounts, which is very exciting. So really there's very few limitations on who can sign up and benefit from community solar, and there's no investment up front. There's no cost to join or cancel. Let's say if you move, for example. And also if you sign up to community solar, you can also be signed up with Westchester Power. So they're fully compatible with each other, and you can easily double your environmental benefit. And just to go over quickly how the billing and savings works for community solar, when the solar panels at the solar farm produce solar energy, that solar energy is translated to a credit that appears on your utility bill. So highlighted here, it says CDG value stack credit, and provides a dollar figure for the amount that is taken off of your utility bill. And that will vary each month. This is just an example from someone's bill from last year. And what happens is after that credit is applied, you pay the remaining amount to your utility, and then you pay the discounted rate for that value credit in a separate transaction that's done automatically. So another nice thing about community solar is that you don't, as soon as you sign up, you just begin saving, and you don't have to put any extra effort or energy into keeping up your subscription or saving or paying that discounted rate, because that transaction is automatic. And the sign up is very quick and simple. You go to sustainablewestchester.org/solar, which is our main community solar page. And then just underneath the main header is a link to our marketplace here. You'll see in our main page, you'll see a big blue sign up button. And once you click on that, it'll bring you to this page here, which shows you all of our available projects, which you can filter by utility. Some of you are in Con Ed territory, some of you are in NYSEG. It would show you exactly what's available in your utility territory. So once you filter out by utility and select a project, it will take you to the Sustainable Westchester sign-up portal, where you'll create a login and input your basic contact details, your name, and I will say that when you're signing up, it can be done within 10 minutes, as long as you have your utility bill in front of you, your billing details. We use checking and savings account numbers and routing numbers for that billing. And then the last step would just be to e-sign a contract. And once you submit all of that, we review your account, allocate your solar panels, the solar panels accordingly at the solar farm, and then you can begin accruing those savings once the project is live and producing energy. So I believe that's it, but if you have more questions, I'm happy to answer it at the end of the presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Claire. Okay, so we just also want to mention before we get into Q&A that Westchester Power and Sustainable Westchester are enabled to do even more groundbreaking progress and projects because of the participation that you have in Westchester Power. So in the future, we're going to be rolling out a community solar expansion into Westchester Power. We are piloting a residential demand response program to work on reducing energy during peak hours, and this will be available for residential customers for the first time. We are also thinking about direct supply solutions to make sure we're bringing renewable supply to Westchester County. And we're also piloting new models at our headquarters in the Mount Kisco office of Sustainable Westchester. So please, if you are ready, it's time to take action now. If you're not a member of Westchester Power, you can give us a call to sign up, or you can also give us a call to enroll in community solar. We have the emails right here. You can also Google Sustainable Westchester and get our contact information that way. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and take a look at the chat. Have any questions come through to the chat? Yes, 10 questions. Okay, we've got our work cut out for us. So let's see. Leola, let's see. Carla has a question. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to read it out loud, and then I think, Carmen, you can answer this. So it seems there's multiple programs that are called community solar, so it makes it difficult to explain. So, Carla, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. So when we've been corresponding, with Westchester Power and Sustainable Westchester, we've gotten emails about the town enrolling in different programs, and they're all called community solar. So it makes it hard when you're trying to explain to somebody who's not as immersed in this, or even someone like myself who is and is getting these emails, and then I'm like, wait, trying to decipher which program they're referring to. So for instance, NYPA has that program, that Pound Ridge. We've submitted sites where we're hoping we'll have solar built on them. That'll be kind of like a rent thing where they pay the town and then we also get the 10% discount. That's called community solar. Then there is, I guess, a more industrial program for towns that's also called community solar that we submitted all of our energy use for in Pound Ridge and were deemed that we didn't use enough for that community solar. So they wanted to throw us into another community solar that was the individual one. But I didn't really I thought when we were doing that first one, we were almost doing something like the individual one. I didn't know that it was significantly, different. So there was a lot of, and then we were told, oh, well, you can just do the individual one, which we thought we were kind of doing all along. And then the last thing I think you did address is the fact that in the mail, we get offers all the time about community solar that's not from Westchester Power or NYPA, and then it's just really confusing. And then the last confusion is obviously explaining how community solar works on top of the CCA program.
So I was going to jump in and address the branding behind community solar. So all of our community solar programs fall under the Sustainable Westchester umbrella. They're not from Westchester Power. Westchester Power is just yet another program of Sustainable Westchester. So yeah, and when you talk about the NYPA program, well, that's a NYPA program. Sustainable Westchester is intimately involved or closely involved in signing up the municipalities. So maybe think of it as Sustainable Westchester's community solar programs. And then you're right, you will get, I get all the time from other solar companies, New York Solar and Sunshine Solar and all sorts of other kinds of companies that wouldn't have the Sustainable Westchester branding along with it, or would not obviously be a program from Sustainable Westchester. But I'll let someone else jump on too if they want to answer that further. And of course, answer Carla's very important question about how the two, Westchester Power and community solar, work hands in hands or can go together. Anybody, Dan?
So just so I understand that then, because I feel like I've seen multiple logos on the different offers. So Sustainable Westchester doesn't have anything to do with the NYPA program.
So we do have something to do with the NYPA.
But that's also called community solar.
Right, so it's a NYPA community solar program, and when you get that NYPA offer, you'll likely see the county, NYPA, and Sustainable Westchester on all of that. And our role in that program is to help facilitate municipal sign-up and to help, help you go through the process and answer questions. But NYPA is in fact driving that program, but we are in fact a partner in that program. But when you hear from us and we come and talk to you about signing up your municipal meters, which I am not entirely sure whether or not you have or not, and when we come to you and say, let's do a community solar community campaign together, that's from Sustainable Westchester. And then often, again, those things you get in the mail will be branded different companies like New York Solar and so on and so forth.
So just to interrupt, in the effort to reduce confusion in the marketplace, I really want to get to the questions that relate to personal customers subscribing to Westchester Power and community solar. So I'm hopeful, Carla, maybe we can talk more offline about overcoming the community solar confusion. But Carmen, if you can talk about how Westchester Power and community solar work together, that would be perfect.
Sure. So basically, you can do both programs at the same time. With Westchester Power, you're trying to choose what your supply will be, you use green power or choose your default supply to be 100% renewable energy, then that's what Westchester Power is working with. That's the supply that comes to your and you use. But community solar is you're helping solar development take place. So you do this by purchasing credits for that solar development at a discounted price. And then these credits get applied to your utility bill, so to your electricity bill. And so that way you end up saving money. So really, you are able to do both, choose green energy supply and also support that solar development that will give you savings in your utility bill. I hope, does that explain your question, Carla? Thank you.
Perfect. And Midge had a similar question that I think you just answered, Carmen.
I just unmuted myself. Is that allowed?
Yeah, definitely.
I guess it is because I did it. So thanks for this webinar. I'm always being asked that question, and while in my mind I understand the answer, I have a hard time answering it. And I'm wondering if Sustainable Westchester has some kind of a graphic that someone could look at so you could see the difference. Or I guess that would be welcome if there's an opportunity to do something like that. Because I don't know if it's just me, but I have a hard time wrapping my head around that.
I think you're right, Midge, and that would be a perfect thing to have us develop. And I think I might take a stab at Elisa's question. She says she's still not understanding the mechanism for paying her utility bill if she signs up, or does she still pay NYSEG, but for an amount that has been adjusted? So let me try to explain this and we'll see if I do an okay job. So, and this also, I think I'm also going to incorporate, Elizabeth has a question. She's still confused. Do you sign up for community solar or Westchester Power? So let's talk about this. If you live in one of the municipalities that we talked about that's a member of Westchester Power, you are automatically enrolled in Westchester Power. So you may be getting the green supply or the basic supply. Basic if you live in Somers, green if you live in one of the other municipalities. And then at that point, since you're automatically enrolled, you don't have to do anything unless you've decided to opt out or you decided to switch to green or basic, depending on what you want to do. So Westchester Power, you're set. The only thing you'd have to do is if at one point you opted out, you could choose to opt back in. Now, community solar, you do have to enroll in. And the way community solar works, I signed up myself a few months ago. And the way that it worked was, what did I do? I went on the Sustainable Westchester website. I had my utility bill in my hand and I filled out the paperwork. So now every month I do get my Con Ed bill and it's for a very small amount. And then I also receive 10% off that bill. And you'll see the charge comes through our subcontractor called Power Market. They are the ones who are helping to process the payment. So I get my Con Ed bill. It's for a much smaller amount than it used to be. I then receive, what is that called? They take the money out of my bank account. Power Market takes the remainder of the bill out of my bank account, and the 10% savings has been allocated. So we do need a chart, Midge, something that shows 100% of the bill, and then you're paying 90% of your bill.
I think it's important to note that like Westchester Power and Community Solar live on different places on your bill, right? Westchester Power is like the traditional, like you've got kilowatt hours and you're paying a certain amount for the kilowatt hours. And now through Westchester Power, we're deciding which generators we want to pay, and that's kind of your traditional supply. Community solar is a new thing that came along, and that lives strictly as like $1 credit on your bill. So the two at this point don't really overlap, and that's why you can do them both and they don't affect each other, right? So community solar, you can have additional impact. You sign up, you're helping to put more green energy on the grid, and you end up with a net credit. Why is it a net credit? Because the strange system that the state has set up means that you get this credit on your bill. So you get $100 worth of credits on your bill. But you have to pay for those credits, but you pay at a discount. So that the $100 credit, you're paying, for example, $90 for that. That means you're netting out that savings. It's kind of a weird system, but that's the way the state set it up so that these two channels could be different. And you can have double the impact and you can have more savings.
Hi, this is Kathy from Sustainable Westchester. I field a lot of these calls with questions on how Westchester Power and Community Solar integrate. And Dan just explained it. Yeah, I just basically say that the Westchester Power program is, you are actually getting your supply through that program. The community solar program, you are getting dollar credits for your participation in the project, putting that amount of renewable energy into the grid. So, you know, they're two separate, obviously, entities. And I do run through, I don't think we have it as a graphic, but I usually give an example of, you know, you get $100 bill, and I, you know, go through the numbers that are very simple. And that seems to help the customer understand how it works.
Well, we do have the bill graphic for both Westchester Power separately and for community solar separately.
Right. So, but I mean, just going through numbers.
Graphic that shows here's your Westchester Power, here's your community solar credits. But we do have both of those available to share.
But just like as an example, you know, a lot of time I just go through this simple example of $100 bill, and you know, you got a $90 credit. You pay your utility the difference, $10. After that, you get an email acknowledging you got that $90 credit, and your account will be debited 90% of that, which is $81. And in the end, you've paid 81 plus 10 or $91 against a $100 electric bill, saving close to 10% of your electricity charges.
Well, it's good that we're doing these community presentations, because it definitely shows we have some room for improvement for explaining these programs, and it is
Sorry.
how these all work. So hopefully if you tune into our next Westchester Power presentation, you're going to listen to the PowerPoint and then be like, yes, I get it. So we appreciate all the questions you're submitting now. And now Karen sent a question a few minutes ago. Are there enough slots for people to join from NYSEG? And this is for community solar. And is there a limit? Claire, can you answer?
There's no limit. We have plenty of space for NYSEG folks, and we're also acquiring new solar farms all the time, especially in Con Ed territory where those project sizes are a bit smaller. And so the answer is whoever signs up, it doesn't matter what utility you're in, we will accommodate you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And Kathy wrote in with a question, is Westchester Power an option for Con Ed folks? Definitely. We're trying to tailor the presentation today to people in NYSEG territory, but if you call our office, we can definitely check that you're enrolled in Westchester Power, or you can take a look on your utility bill to see that you have
Constellation in your utility bill.
Thanks, Carmen. I didn't want to say the wrong name.
Can you please give us your number, and thank you very much?
Sure.
Sure.
I will put the number in the chat right now, or maybe Kathy, can you do that for me? Okay, so we're putting the number in the chat box.
I'm sorry, I had to pick up a call. We're putting the office number in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Lauren, what's your extension? I'll put a couple extensions there.
I don't know, that's why
Okay, I don't know that. Okay, I'll put the main number, a couple extensions, and anybody, you know, for answer your questions, I'll do that.
All right, so Harriet, did that answer your question? Okay, yeah, I got that. And
Harriet, you're on mute. If you're speaking, you're on mute. Sorry.
Sorry. Thank you so much. You know, Karen is my adopted daughter. So she's helping me a lot with this, and she'll help me to be able to sign up. But thank you so much for everything you're doing. It's really as we say in the Jewish religion, it's a mitzvah. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
love that. Okay, Leola wrote a question in. She has Con Ed. Irvington has the electric green default electric supply through Westchester CCA. Yep. She subscribed to Westchester Community Solar also. Okay, so she's sharing her good story. Perfect. Thank you for writing that, Leola. And thanks for always putting good stuff in the chat. Leola comes into the Bedford 2020 dig-in calls on Thursdays too. She's always putting helpful links there. So thank you. Okay, Kristen Anderson. Oh, good question. So Constellation is the name of the ESCO for Westchester Power in Con Ed. Carmen, do you want to talk about that? You're on mute.
You're muted.
Sorry, so you want to know who the energy supplier is in Con Edison? In the Con Edison territory, it would be Constellation. We have about, I guess, 23 municipalities that are participating in the Con Ed territory. We have a long list that you can see on our website. Maybe if you want to know whether your municipality is participating, if you feel free, you can unmute yourself and let us know, and we could tell you whether you're in Westchester Power that way.
Okay, and this point that Kristen asks is also important about Constellation. And this is kind of the point of the call. We are going to be renegotiating our Westchester Power contracts. Nothing for you to have to be concerned about, but at Sustainable Westchester, we're working on this. So it's possible that the name of our ESCO will change later in the year.
Yes, that's correct. In 2021, we would be going into new contracts, so it might be a different energy supplier.
Perfect. So much confusing stuff, but hopefully it's a little bit more clear now. And if there's any more questions floating around, thoughts, comments, concerns, please chat it in or unmute yourself and join the conversation.
And I know that we showed the emails that you can reach out to if you have questions, but for any further community solar questions you have, or any information requests you have related to community solar, you can always reach out to communitysolar@sustainablewestchester.org. It's great that it's easy to remember. So I just wanted to state that out loud.
Westchester Power has a similar address. So obviously it's Westchester Power at sustainablewestchester.org. So that is, again, easy to remember.
Please put it in the chat so we can, because my old mind doesn't retain always.
All right, I'm typing away.
Oh, I think Lauren just sent that to everyone.
Oh,
Thank
perfect.
you,
Great.
Okay, cool. What else? Any other questions?
Yeah, question.
Yeah.
I'm coming through. Okay, good. I understand that the community solar thing is yet an additional way we can support renewable energy, and that there's this incentive with the credit and all that's really good, and that's different from opting into Westchester Power, but they work together. But I just need to, I think what I'm understanding is that to opt into Westchester Power requires paying a very small but yet additional cost to, if you use the old-fashioned supply, the based on carbon footprint stuff. It seems like it's a few cents more or something. I'm just like, do you guys know what that is per year? I mean, obviously, if you care about sustainable energy, it's worth the investment. But I'm just wondering what that additional cost is.
Great. Thank you, Lauren, for bringing this up. So actually, through the life of your participation in Westchester Power since 2016, we've actually saved for each household about $3 if you had basic supply, but for green energy, which is what you're talking about, we saved about $1.65 for residential accounts per month. So, and this is possible because we have a fixed rate, and the utility actually has a varies with the energy market, and every month you get a different rate applied to you for use of your electricity if you're working.
And I think Elisa was also referring to the difference between the standard supply and the green supply within the program.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Right.
Sorry about not understanding your answer. that well. But yeah, I guess there is a difference of $1.50 about for choosing the green supply.
Okay.
It's
But
it's a third of a today it's a third of a cent per kilowatt hour.
Well, and I meant $1.50 difference for each month.
For a month, yeah. So that's the level, right?
Okay. Okay. I just want to get it straight in my mind that, you know, it's something that you're doing because it's important to you and you want to support this change, but that I just want to understand, you know, all the factors.
Good. I think these questions are so useful for everyone on the call. So thank you for asking.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I understand about the situation where I'm in Larchmont, so we're part of the Westchester Power project, and I'm wondering, and it's the default. I get that. I'm wondering, why can't we make the community solar a default as well? Because it seems to me that there's no downside. If there's no downside and you're saving money, why don't we just make both of them the default?
I'm happy to answer that. We
That's a silly question. You guys are laughing. I don't know.
Yeah, we're laughing because we also agree that it makes perfect sense. There is no downside, and the easiest thing is just to make that a default option as well. But the regulation from the state prevents us from doing that as of right now. We're working to make that a possibility by 2021, but right now that's not, we're not able to do that. But believe me, we've all had many conversations about just wishing we could snap our fingers and do just that.
Well, I asked because I'm on our environmental committee and we're a small group. We have to choose our battles. This is an important battle. We would pick this up and promote it in our community. But if you guys think that you may be able to get it to be the default next year, then we would wait and see how that goes and spend our very limited resources on green building or green transportation or something else like that. So is this looking pretty possible, or do you guys have a suggestion on how to raise this within?
I think the point is it is happening, Kristen. The issue is actually kind of a little bit of a technical one in a sense, that right now you have to proactively sign up because we can't just shovel those credits in because there has to be this transaction, right? We just described a transaction where credits come on your bill and you actually have to pay for them. So that requires like signing up and giving your checking account information so that can all happen. Very clumsy, and that's why we want that to go away and just end up with a net credit on your bill. So the Public Service Commission has ordered the utilities to develop this consolidated billing capability. It's not there today. So we're stuck on that, and everybody, that's like the holy grail for us. As soon as they have that, we'll have the ability to just move those credits right through. And any developer who's got a new project, as long as you meet our discount requirements, we plug you in and those credits get distributed to people. And what it does, which honestly is very exciting for us, is we can also, suppose our supply is a little bit limited at first as projects come on one at a time, we'll point those projects at the low income customers first, perhaps, right? Depending on what the municipalities want to do. But, you know, those customers haven't been able to be a part of a lot of the exciting stuff that's going on, be a part of the solution, get some of the benefits of these programs. So next year with this new mechanism, we'll be able to bring them in and be partners in trying to solve all these problems and derive some of the benefits from them. So it is, it's all in the works. There's no way really to accelerate it. And today you still have the option to participate, but you have to go through this sign up process. So you can help by just letting people know that today.
Sure. We're going to put it in our mayor's newsletter. We'll promote it. I just don't, we probably won't make a campaign out of it because it sounds like you guys, it sounds like it's on the way, which is, you guys at Sustainable Westchester, you're terrific that you're taking on this kind of combination technical and logistical, I mean, financial stuff for us. We couldn't possibly do this as a community. We're so glad we have you guys doing this on the county level. Thank you so much. Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
We are talking about something else here. It's another type of solar project, and I don't know if Sustainable Westchester is involved in this. We're talking about trying to help our real estate, our people who own large buildings that could have solar installations on them, lease them out for solar panels. And it's hard for us to do again because we're a small municipality, not very sophisticated. Does Sustainable Westchester have a program to help us help those people? Like we have a DeChico's, they already put a green installation on their roof, but we have another big apartment building. They say they might be open to it, but they have no idea how to do it, and we don't know how to do it.
Okay, Claire, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so we don't have a formal program for that sort of situation, but in the past we have assisted a commercial building make that happen. This one was in Montrose. It was actually the first community solar program that we were involved in spring of 2018, and it was a relatively small community solar project, but it was on the roof of a local commercial property owner, and we assisted with his process of figuring out the lease and with the actual owner of the solar panels that were being installed on his property's roof, and we were the ones to help find subscribers for that. So we have done something similar, and feel free to email me. We can.
Yes,
and
Michelle
Kristen,
has quite a bit of
Kristen,
experience.
I can take that from here. We've been at Sustainable Westchester helping municipalities, leaders, and folks like you identify these sites by doing a preliminary study, which basically tells the folks, the owners, the landlords there, that there's a possibility of putting solar. So anything that you find that makes sense, send it to us. By the way, I'm a Sustainable Westchester as well. And we have the tools to kind of help you doing that preliminary study.
Yeah.
Is there a minimum roof size? I won't monopolize this any further. Is there a minimum roof size to make this feasible?
Yes, I would say 1,000, but I would just send me an address. Once you send me an address, I can tell you right away, yeah, this is possible. And for us, it's like 5 minutes looking. We have a tool. We spend money on a tool for this, and it's easy for us to come back with the preliminary assessment.
I'm putting Michelle and Nina's information in the chat, so you can find it there.
And it's important that we need help from you guys to identify these sites, because there's a lot of folks, landlords, owners of these properties that, don't do the steps to get, acquainted with this particular technology. And community solar is all about this. It's finding all the space, the size possible in the county. This is the best thing that we have in here.
We're looking at it as a wedge issue in a way to start talking to these business people about greener practices. If we can offer them this, where they make money and they're heroes in the community, and then maybe they do more stuff with us, like composting and all this. So
I think we can have a conversation on that.
Great. Okay, since we just have less than 5 minutes left, I really want to answer these last two questions. Leola has asked, now Westchester Power saves people money. on the regular default option, whether the green or basic are chosen. Is that correct, Carmen?
Over the life of the program, yes, it has saved participants money.
Okay.
Savings is not guaranteed. So the program is a fixed rate program, and it offers cost control, and it offers an insurance, if you will, against what is typically fluctuating energy market rates. But we have to be clear that at any given point in time, any month, any period of 2 months or 3, the utility could be a little less per kilowatt hour than the Westchester Power program. And on the flip side, months after that, we could be a few cents less per kilowatt hour, even sometimes half a cent. The difference is almost half a cent. So just to be clear, there's savings is not a guaranteed benefit of the Westchester Power program. It's about cost control and insurance against fluctuating rates. But as Carmen said, over the course of the program since 2016, we've been able to enjoy a small savings for all of our participants.
Yes, and it is a small savings, but it goes a long way in terms of helping us mitigate the effects of like greenhouse gases. So thank you for that.
Okay.
And saving the world.
That's right. Yeah, we're doing this to reduce carbon emissions. That's right. So, Elisa, you have a question about community solar. She wants to know if automatic payment from her bank account is the only option for paying the community solar bill. Claire, take it away.
That is the only option we have. That's the only option we have right now, yes. But you do, for those transactions, you get a monthly notification about a week ahead of that transaction coming out of your bank account of choice, saying exactly what you'll be charged, what you are saving that month as a community solar subscriber, even things like how much carbon emissions you've prevented from being emitted. So that is the only way it's done, but we do give you that notice, and you'll have access to an online portal with all of that information in one place. So if you ever wanted to see exactly how much was debited this month or that month, you can always go back and check that.
Right, and the system is secure.
Yes, it's secure, kept encrypted. Yes, thank you, Lauren.
Perfect.
Yeah, none of us have access to that information, right? Claire goes directly to the NYSEG server.
Right, exactly.
Okay, great. I think that takes us to the end of the questions, and we're just hitting 1 o'clock. Thank you everyone so much for joining us today, and I look forward to hopefully hearing from you if you need help. And I know we put a ton of emails in the chat box, but just know you can email info@sustainablewestchester. We'll forward it to the right person. If you're not sure who to reach out to, you can go on our website and fill out the contact form. We are available. So thank you again, everyone.
I want to encourage everyone, if you're not already on our newsletter list, it would be a great thing if you could go to our newsletter, our website. There's a Join Us button, and get yourself on our newsletters so that you're sure to not miss these and be able to stay updated on everything. Sorry, Lauren.
So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. You know, we had a lot of questions. We know there's confusion out there. So please speak to us. We want to clear it up, and your questions are helping us improve our messages for the future. So thanks again for joining, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.